What's up, y'all? Right now I'm at Mississippi Point Park doing some parkour. Mississippi River, Champlin, Minnesota. This is a virtual tour of Champlin, Minnesota. It actually is bright. I do need these. Let's get into it. How's it going, y'all? My name is Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities. Go ahead and check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home here in the beautiful Twin Cities of Minnesota. And that's whether you are moving here from across the state, across the country, across the planet, or just buying a house for the first time. First-time home buyers, relocations, that is what we do better than anybody else. It's super loud here right now. But if either of those things appeal to you, do us both a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give the video a thumbs up, and say what's up in the comments. I'd appreciate that very much. And as always, if you're thinking about moving here to the beautiful Twin Cities of Minnesota, do whatever you can to get a hold of us. Call or text the number on the screen, email us at info@tothetwincities.com, or go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there, super slick. It all leads directly to us, and we can't wait to hear from you. All right, right back here, this is Highway 169. This is a bridge. It is a particularly windy day. All along 169 here is pretty much all of the commercial offerings of Champlin. There's a ton of stuff here, super convenient. Just about everything that you would ever need. Might be a few stores that maybe Champlin doesn't have yet, and it is very suburban, right? So it's not gonna have a ton of the cool, trendy stuff, but there is a lot of those general suburban conveniences. Okay, I'm excited to show you around Champlin. The more time that we spend here, the more we enjoy it. I'm gonna go pick up Nick, host from the team, and we're gonna just kind of check out some spots, talk to you about what we see, and give you the rundown on what it feels like to live in Champlin, Minnesota. It's a good one. I'm excited to show you this one. I hate that my shadow's in this, but what are you gonna do? All right, bye-bye.
What's going on, everybody? We are in Champlin today, Northern Metro, right on the riverside here at Donnie Galloway Riverside Park. It's quite lovely, perfect fall day. There are a number of these scattered throughout the riverside in Champlin and Anoka, some of the cities along the way, but we did a little driving today. Love this area. I helped a client purchase a home here earlier this year, and I like it just as much now as I did then. Lots to offer. Variety of housing stock, commercial amenities. It's kind of got everything up here. Green space.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful spot. I think a little bit of a sleeper. We obviously took forever to get to this video because there's not that much hype on it, but we, the more kind of time we spent, I also helped somebody buy here super recently. And yeah, the more time we spent up here, kind of the more into it we are. We're like, okay, yeah, it has a lot to offer. You get a lot of house, a lot of land for the money.
Yards.
Like you said, a lot, like very diverse housing stock. There are kind of first-time home buyer houses, sub 300 or right around 300. If they need a little bit of work.
Low threes.
Yeah, low threes for sure. The person I helped was 345, I think.
Yeah, 315 for me.
Super nice place. And yeah, as we were driving today, we were just discovering all these pockets of Champlin that are like just beautiful. Like so truly nice. Some of the nicest spots that, I don't know, that I've seen on this sort of end of the metro.
Yeah, we are in the northern end here.
Yeah, the northwest, I suppose.
Yeah, we've got Ramsey up to the west, Dayton, and then it's kind of like you're on 94 up to St. Cloud.
which actually leads us perfectly into the geographical boundaries of it. Right now where we stand is like basically all the way at like the northern tip. And Champlin is shaped sort of triangularly. And
triangle.
Yeah, so we're in that north tip, so it doesn't really have a northern border. It just basically comes to a point. And then the sort of northeastern border is the Mississippi River. Right across from that is Anoka, and then to the south of Anoka would be like the Coon Rapids area.
And then to the south of Champlin, you have the northern portion of Brooklyn Park. You've got Maple Grove / Osseo, and then to our northwest, you've got Dayton, and then Ramsey a little bit further north. So
for sure. And then I would say, you know, we both live basically downtown Minneapolis right now. Keeps us nice and in the center of the metro.
So nice.
And it was about 33. Yeah, just a little more than 30 minutes.
Pending traffic.
Yeah, definitely. I had no traffic. So 30 minutes, no traffic. If you're hitting major traffic, for sure, it would take longer. And maybe from the Minneapolis airport, we'd be talking 35 to 45. Again, probably depending on traffic.
So being that we are up here in kind of this northwestern tip of the metro, if you had a wild game to catch downtown St. Paul, you're looking 40 minutes.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hike.
Definitely a little bit of a hike. And if you had to get to like, I wouldn't really live here right now as a real estate agent, because if I had to go to Farmington, I don't know, hour and 15.
Or Stillwater, drive.
Yeah. You're kind of going all the way across the metro. But if you're not particularly tied, or you don't have to have any reason to go across the metro, then it's sweet. It's, you know, still pretty accessible to downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And I don't know, who flies that often that they have to be, you know, 15 minutes from the airport.
True. So as far as schools in the area, by and large, Champlin is serviced by the Anoka-Hennepin Public School District for all grade levels. And that's gonna get a B+ on average per niche.com. So.
Yeah, generally pretty good schools, and that's kind of the whole school district, which I think the schools, from what I understand, the schools in Champlin are a little better on average than the entirety of Anoka-Hennepin. Specifically, Champlin Park High School gets an A- according to niche.com, and Jackson Middle School gets a B+. So I guess that's right on average.
Yeah, so if your primary concern is gonna be the K through 5 grades, so elementary pretty much, you've got 2 grade options, which is Oxbow Creek, which comes in at an A-, as well as Dayton Elementary, A- as well. So pretty high rating, which is great.
Yeah, and one thing to pay attention to is, like all places, well, for the most part, is it depends on where you are within the city, what sort of grade those schools are gonna get. You can get some lower graded schools in Champlin. They're still not bad. We're talking B+. So, you know, and maybe a little bit less than that. But as always, rather than just paying attention to the school district, try to zero in on the specific schools that you're gonna land at, if that's a priority. I don't have kids. I don't know.
Nor do I.
It's not a main priority at this point in my
Only
life.
fur babies.
Yeah,
Cats and dogs.
that's fair. So dog parks, very important. Which,
Yards.
yeah, we ran into a guy throwing a ball to his dog here. Seems like an awesome place.
Henrietta, the golden retriever. She was such a sweetheart.
Seems like a great spot to bring a dog, kind of go on a walk. They have these great trails and all that.
And we're kind of walking through a disc golf course right now.
Yeah, we are. So if we get hit,
We've been ducking and dodging.
if we get hit, we'll leave it in, but hopefully we don't. As far as homes go, like we said earlier, the people that we were showing were like right around low threes.
Low to mid 3s.
Median sale price is $330 in Champlin, which is pretty much nails it. That's pretty much exactly what you're looking at for the bulk of the sort of housing stock here. But yeah, there are some really, really beautiful houses. You could spend close to $1 million here.
Yeah, and you'll see some of that in the drive-through videos. Some large $800,000 plus houses.
Yeah,
just across the road.
And there's some lakefront property, there's riverfront property. So for sure, you could spend a pretty penny, but you're gonna have a pretty epic house up here.
Yeah, and that being said, you should be able to find something that you like up here. There's a great mixed bag of housing stock here.
Yeah, unless you want tight urban living, then yeah, as far as suburban lifestyle goes, this place pretty much has it.
Yeah, we drove through some really beautiful neighborhoods that were a little more established than some of the new builds. Gorgeous.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, that's true. That was probably my favorite neighborhood.
We were both commenting on it. This is nice.
Yeah, some maybe like late 90s built houses that have since been renovated, and they're just like
mature trees, even some pine trees in there like you'd see up north.
Yeah, super cool. But yeah, by the way, as we begin to head north and as we're out by the river, it seems like the trees change a little bit. They get a little more exciting up here than if you were kind of down where we grew up in the southern metro.
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's pop over yonder and we're gonna talk pros and cons.
All right, y'all, we are back in the neighborhood that Jesse and I were raving about earlier when we were down by the river. It's quite nice. Speaking on the diverse housing stock earlier, we've kind of got our 1990s, middle of what we've seen earlier with the 800K McMansions, and then you've got your 1970s kind of low to mid threes, kind of like split level homes. We're right in the middle here. Immaculately maintained neighborhood here.
Yeah, this spot is super nice. As we were driving through, we were like marveling at it as sort of being like such a picturesque suburb.
Totally.
You know, this is like, when I think about a really nice, growing up, I would have been like, people live like this neighborhood. This is kind of that neighborhood without being so over the top, you know, 800K, $1 million sort of new build.
Cookie cutter too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's diverse enough here. You know, we've seen some brick facade houses. There's a house over here that has like a wraparound porch that looks like it belongs in the south, overlooks this beautiful marsh area. Super, super cool. Big decks. Yeah.
And walking paths going through the neighborhood.
That's true. Yeah, we're just on a walking path.
Super nice. People are out raking the leaves. It's a nice area.
Yeah, very, very well maintained.
Established.
Yeah, for sure. So we're talking pros and cons of living here in Champlin. Best we can tell, pros and cons. I'm gonna say good schools, maybe not the best, maybe not like top 5, but good schools. On average, B+, seems like A-, pretty easy to achieve. Definitely good schools. This marsh area
so beautiful.
Is beautiful. I don't know. That sun's gonna be a little bit bright, but 'tis beautiful nonetheless. Okay, second pro, beautiful outdoor spaces. Not just this path, but like the park we were at earlier. It seems like there's
Riverside
a lot,
parks.
Yeah, a lot of these riverside parks, and even just like nice little neighborhood parks kind of sprinkled throughout. Pro number 3 for me is gonna be affordable housing prices. We said this earlier, but median sale price is right around $330,000. That's pretty good when you have this, for one, this nice of house. The houses seem to be very well maintained, even in that lower end.
Totally.
You have this beautiful outdoor space. You have good schools. It's kind of hard to beat.
Ticking a lot of boxes. Deal City.
Deal City, that's Champlin's other name. What do you got for your pros?
Just to reiterate some of the things that we touched on earlier, you've got a great variety of housing stock up here. Something for everybody. You've got your suburban amenities as far as commercial nearby, but it's not offensive. You know, you can kind of get into these tucked away, leading into point 3, established neighborhoods. Nice tree-lined streets. It's just got that nice, cozy feel. You've got people out raking the leaves. It's a good feel. It's a really good feel out here.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Oh, and last but not least, as you can see, I don't know if Jesse will get a shot here, but huge lots for those dog lovers out there.
This guy loves a big yard.
I love a big yard.
Wow,
this one, a big dog.
This one is huge.
Yeah, probably like a quarter to like almost a half of an acre for some of these. I mean, they're big.
Keep an eye on this fence that we're walking next to. It goes a really long way, and it's all that yard. Okay, cons. These we had to think about this for a hot minute.
We had to press for them.
We both like it, so we're like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's that many, but everywhere has its con. Depends on who you are. Depends on what you're looking for.
Lifestyle.
So yeah, for me, I would say at this point in my life, Champlin is a little bland in a suburban way, though, in a way that so many suburbs are, in the way that the suburb I grew up in was, and
a subjective con.
Yeah, at this point in my life, it's just a little bit cookie cutter as far as amenities and retail shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't get the mom and pop with arts, entertainment, bars, restaurants that the cities will offer.
For sure, and I guess which I think that leads to my next con it's far from the cities.
Yeah,
Not
quite a drive.
Not insane. You're not in like a rural town, but yeah, half hour from Minneapolis, and that's where I do a lot of my life. So it just wouldn't make a lot of sense for me right now to live in Champlin, but I do still see the appeal. What do you got for cons?
There tends to be a little bit of a bottleneck when you get to the river. Anoka's on the other side of the river, and it's actually 169 that runs through the towns. So there can be a bit of a bottleneck as far as traffic is concerned there. Also, some of the houses, depending on how close to the river you are, might require flood insurance. And that'll be like right on the river, but you know, something to keep in mind.
And let me piggyback on your traffic situation. I would agree, it does seem to bottleneck especially as you're trying to cross the river. For me, I would say that there's just not that much highway access. You have 169, you can cross the river and get to Highway 10, but they're definitely, especially if you think about like Western Champlin, there's not a lot of, you're taking back roads kind of all the way down to a main highway, and that might take a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And the last con, in my opinion, is going to be appreciation. Given that we are kind of up here in the northernmost tip of the metro, despite being in the path of progress, this suburb is going to be a little less front of mind as some of the others closer into the metro. So the appreciation you might not see as increasing as rapidly as you would down in, you know, your Minnetonkas, even your Maple Groves that are a little bit closer.
Again, this might not be a con to you, in that it's a little bit slept on. The hype around it is just a little bit, I don't know, slower than some other places.
Totally.
And, you know, so if you were to Google best places to live in Minnesota, Champlin might not come up, right? And so because of that, even though it might be, right? It might be one of the best places to live.
There's a lot to like.
Yeah, there really is. But I think because of that, it's going to be a little slower to grow. The home prices you can afford. You can get a lot of house for your money right now. There's kind of a reason for that. And it's because the appreciation hasn't quite caught up. And potentially some of that sort of commercial growth might be slower to get here as well. That said, I don't know. It seems like it's coming, but generally seems like it's slower. A house like this, maybe it's 400K in Champlin. In Minnetonka or Eden Prairie, Lakeville, we're talking 650, right? So good that you could actually get that for 400. Bad that I guess if you buy it now, it'll be worth less than the same house in Lakeville.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You're gonna have to sit on it longer.
Yeah, for sure.
If that's your play.
All right, that's pros and cons of Champlin. Okay, friends, right now I'm in a neighborhood that I think sums up kind of like the lower end as far as price goes of houses that you might find here in Champlin. We're talking 350 range, right around the median. Kind of these 90s, more modest 90s, maybe 80s. Some of these are 70s built homes, and just really good value, which usually I do kind of a summary in 3 things, but I think I'm just gonna sum it up as incredible value here in Champlin. As long as the location works for you, there's really, really good value to be had here. And you know, we struggled to find cons. There are some, but you get a lot of house, you get a lot of amenities, you get great neighborhoods for what you're paying as far as housing costs go. But if you have been watching these videos, you know that we have a section called our For Fans of section, which is to say, if you like what you see here in Champlin, maybe check out these other areas. And I'm gonna start with Andover. We have a video on Andover. Andover has a lot of things in common with here: good schools, relatively affordable home prices, and just generally really good values. And the vibes are gonna feel pretty similar. Next, I'm gonna say Coon Rapids. Coon Rapids, the vibe is different, and I would say it's maybe even a little bit cheaper than what you're gonna find here. And maybe the schools aren't gonna be quite as good, but it has a lot of things in common. Geographically, it's quite close And it seems that we have a lot of people who they're interested in Coon Rapids, but they'll also consider Champlin. So just based on that alone. And then another one I would throw in there would be Blaine as well. Okay, next spot coming up, Lino Lakes. We don't have a video on this yet, but it is in the queue, and we will do one. These dogs hate me. Sorry. Lino Lakes has a lot in common. It's further north, a little bit less to the west, further north. And you're gonna find a very similar housing stock. You're gonna find generally similar prices. Again, good schools, and just has a lot in common. It's gonna feel pretty similar to this one. Take my word for it, but also sit tight and we'll have a video on it in no time. And then I'm gonna say, if you aren't into this Northwestern geography, if this isn't where you wanna be, maybe you wanna be on the southern end of the metro, to the direct south, basically just keep on going south down 169, I would say check out Shakopee. It's gonna feel a little different, but it has a lot in common in that it's sort of up and coming, it's kind of far out, and yeah, pretty good schools. Again, not top 5, but generally pretty good. So I think Shakopee sort of fits the bill pretty well. And then to the south east of the metro, if maybe you want to be further that way, maybe closer to St. Paul, but still on the outskirts, I would check out Farmington. Farmington is really similar as far as it's still sort of in development. I would say maybe even a little bit less developed than Champlin is, but it's working on it, and I think in no time it'll be kind of a full-blown suburb. So yeah, again, take my word for it. We'll do a video on Farmington eventually, but for right now, it's kind of on the edge of the suburbs, and I guess it's like Lakeville Junior, if that makes sense. It's just not all the way there yet, not a full, complete suburb quite yet. But no matter where you're going, no matter where you're moving, I guess I implore you to just get a hold of us however you can, and we'll help make that move easier. We'll help you zero in on those spots that you might be interested in. Call or text the number on the screen. Email us at info@tothetwincities.com, or just go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there. Super slick, goes directly to us, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. I appreciate you watching this. We did it. This has been Champlin. I hope you've enjoyed. Yeah. We have a bunch of cool videos coming out. Excited to show you around more. We're excited to meet you. The team has been absolutely crushing it. Shout out to Nick, Alex, Steve. They're just doing so good. Absolutely crushing it for our clients. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.